Please, great herbalist, we mean no disrespect. We only seek your help in this matter. Our lives depend on it.
Rose, Grace, and Joy were three beautiful Nigerian girls, all 25 years old. They were not just friends, they were like sisters. They grew up together in the same area, shared the same food, and even shared the same dreams. When one laughed, the others laughed. When one cried, the others felt the pain. As young girls, they promised each other something very important. They said, no matter how hard life becomes, we will never leave one another behind. That promise sounded easy when life was still sweet, but life does not always stay sweet. Now they were grown women and reality had changed. Jobs were hard to find. Money was even harder. Every day they woke up with hope and every night they slept with disappointment. Sometimes they would sit together in their small room, looking at the ceiling, listening to the sound of generators outside. Joy would sigh and say, life don't hard pass Gary without sugar. They still smile, but their smiles were tired. Deep inside their heart, fear was growing, fear of failure, fear of shame, fear of tomorrow. They did not know it yet, but this was the beginning of a journey that would change their lives forever. Every morning, Rose woke up early to check her phone, hoping for a message from any company she had applied to. Every morning, the phone was silent. Grace went from shop to shop asking if they needed workers. Every answer was the same. Come back later. Joy tried small businesses, but nothing worked. Hunger became a regular visitor. Rent became a silent threat. Neighbors began to whisper. One evening, rain was falling softly outside. The room was quiet, too quiet. Joy suddenly broke down and cried. She said, if we continue like this, hunger go finish us. Rose tried to encourage them, but her voice was shaking. Even hope was getting tired. Grace stood up and walked to the window. She watched cars passing, people laughing, life moving on without them. Nobody dey feel poor person pain, she said softly. That night, they talked for a long time about their fears, about their shame, about how they were tired of begging life for mercy. And slowly, a dangerous thought began to grow in their minds, a thought that promised fast relief but hide deep trouble. The idea did not come like thunder. It came quietly, like a whisper. Someone had once mentioned an easy money lifestyle, not stealing, not violence, just meeting rich men who were willing to pay for private company. At first, Rose shook her head. This thing no pure, she said, but Joy spoke with tears in her eyes. Is it hunger that is pure? Silence filled the room. Grace added, we no go do am forever, not just to stand up again. They convinced themselves it was temporary, that they were still good people, that they could stop anytime, but deep inside, their hearts were afraid. That night, none of them slept well. They turned from side to side, thinking of tomorrow. Sometimes the road to destruction is not loud. Sometimes it begins with quiet excuses. And that night, they took their first step into darkness. They printed pictures and phone numbers and placed them quietly in certain places. They told themselves they were just being smart, not bad. Calls started coming in. Money entered their hands faster than they had ever seen before. They paid rent, bought food, smiled again. But something else left them, peace. Every time Rose touched the money, her heart felt heavy. Grace started having headaches. Joy laughed more, but her laughter sounded empty. Why money dey come, but joy dey go? At night, silence returned. Guilt knocked softly. They ignored it. They told themselves, we are surviving. But survival without peace is a dangerous thing. After some months, the small money no longer satisfied them. They wanted more, bigger rooms, better clothes, respect. Joy said, if we don't enter road, make we reach destination. That was when greed entered fully. They did not know that greed is never satisfied. It always asks for more and more. Somewhere far away, darkness was already preparing the next chapter of their lives, and the price would soon become too heavy to pay. At first, the money solved their problems, but slowly something changed. The money that once felt like a miracle now felt small. The room they once celebrated now felt too tight. The clothes that once made them happy now looked ordinary. Grace began to compare their lives with others online. She saw big houses, expensive cars, and smiling faces. See as them they enjoy, she said. Rose tried to remind them of their original plan. We thought in are temporary, but greed does not listen to reminders. Joy laughed and said, temporary fit take long time. They wanted respect, they wanted power, they wanted people to look at them and wonder how they made it. That was when Grace said something that changed everything. Some people know they hustle, then they use power. The room went silent. For the first time, the idea of dark power entered their lives. It was Grace who found the contact, a man who helps people succeed. They did not go during the day, they went at night. The road was quiet, the air felt heavy, the forest was deep and silent, even birds did not sing. A small house stood in front of them. Smoke rose slowly into the air. Inside sat the herbalist. His eyes looked old, like they had seen many secrets. He spoke slowly. Why una come? Joy answered. We want progress. The man nodded. Success gets prize. Their hearts beat fast, but nobody stood up to leave. That was the moment fear should have stopped them, but desire pushed them forward. The herbalist prepared something in silence. He finally spoke. I fit give una charm for attraction and control. Rose asked with a shaking voice. Any danger? The herbalist looked at her deeply. If una break rule, madness and death go follow. They listened, but they did not fully hear. He told them the charm must be strengthened every 3 months with something secretly taken from the people they met. Nobody must know. Fear touched their hearts, but greed held their hands. They accepted the charm. As they left the forest, thunder sounded far away. It was not raining, it was a warning. After the charm entered their lives, everything changed quickly. Calls increased, money doubled, luck followed them everywhere. They moved into bigger house, bought cars, wore expensive clothes. People began to admire them. God don't bless una. They smiled and said, thank you. But at night, fear followed them to bed. Rose had bad dreams. Grace heard whispers when alone. Joy avoided mirrors. They comforted each other with lies. As long as we no get caught, we dey safe. But secrets do not like silence. They always find a way to shout. Soon, they became known as successful women. They donated money, helped the poor, paid school fees for children. People respected them deeply. Now good women them be. Churches prayed for them, but the truth was hiding behind smiles. The charm demanded attention. The rules became heavier. Rose suggested supping. Grace refused. Joy laughed. We don't pass that level. That night, the charm shook by itself. Darkness was no longer patient. The middle of their story had arrived, and it was about to turn against them. After the respect came fear. Not small fear, but the kind that sits quiet inside the chest. Rose was the first to notice it clearly. She would wake up in the night sweating, hearing her name being called, but when she opened her eyes, nobody was there. Grace also changed. She no longer stayed alone. Even in the bathroom, she rushed. She said the silence was too loud. Joy tried to act strong, but sometimes she talked to herself. Why my heart dey beat like drum? Money was still coming, but peace had completely left. One evening, Rose gathered courage and said, make we stop this thing. Grace shook her head. Stop waiting. After everything we don't do? Joy laughed. but her eyes were afraid. Fear no dey feed person, but fear does something worse. It awaits. 3 months passed, and the charm demanded renewal. That night, the room felt cold even without rain. The charm shook slightly on the table. Rose cried, "This thing dey alive." They returned to the forest. The herbalist looked unhappy. "Una dey play with fire," he said. He warned them again, "If anybody see una secret, una mind go scatter." Grace asked, "How long we go do am?" The herbalist answered quietly, "Until una pay the full price." They left in silence. That night, none of them spoke. Mistakes started happening. Joy became careless. She rushed things. She ignored warnings. Rose noticed and warned her, "Slow down, danger dey front." But Joy replied, "Nothing fit happen." Grace began to feel watched, even in public. She felt eyes on her. People still praised them, but whispers began. Money too fast dey get story. The charm no longer stayed quiet. Sometimes it made sound at night. Darkness was getting tired of waiting. One night, Joy met a man who was different. He was sharp, observant. As things went on, he noticed her strange movement. He stopped suddenly. "Wetin you dey do?" Joy froze. Fear showed on her face. The man stood up and shouted. Neighbors gathered. Questions flew. Joy tried to run, but she slipped. People surrounded her. "Explain yourself." Tears poured from her eyes. She knew this time was different. This was not a close call. This was the end of hiding. Under pressure, fear broke Joy completely. She shouted, "Na charm, na ritual." Silence fell. People stepped back. She confessed everything. The herbalist, the charm, the secret act. "Na money make us do am." People shouted. Some cried. Some were angry. That night, Rose and Grace ran away. Joy remained behind, shaking. The secret was out, and darkness was ready to collect what it was owned. After that terrible night, nothing was the same again. Joy sat alone where people had left her. Her body was there, but her mind was already far away. She kept shaking, talking to herself, repeating words that made no sense. "No be my fault. No be my fault." People avoided her. Children ran away when they saw her. The respect she once enjoyed disappeared like smoke. Meanwhile, Rose and Grace were running. They packed only small bags and left the city before sunrise. Their heart beat fast as if something was chasing them. "We fit still escape," Grace said. But Rose shook her head. "You know they run from shadow." That night, as they slept in a strange place, they both heard a loud sound in their dreams. The charm had begun to speak. The secret was free now, and the secret always destroyed their owners. Joy's condition became worse. She walked around the street barefoot. Sometimes she laughed loudly. Sometimes she cried like a child. She pointed at people and screamed as darkness was following her. "Dem dey come, dem dey come." People whispered, "Easy money don craze am." She stopped eating properly. She stopped bathing. Her once beautiful face became empty. At night, she slept on the ground, staring at the sky, talking to things nobody could see. Far away, Rose suddenly woke up one night and started screaming. She said she saw Joy standing by her bed crying. Grace shook her. "Wake up, na dream." But the fear did not leave. Madness had started with one person. It was moving slowly to the others. One morning, people gathered near an abandoned place. Joy was lying on the ground. She was not breathing. There was no blood, no injury, no sign of struggle. She was gone. Some people crossed themselves. Some whispered prayers. God have mercy. Doctors later said they could not explain it. When Rose and Grace heard the news, their words stopped. Rose fell to the ground and cried. "We killed ourselves with our own hands." Grace said nothing. Her eyes were empty. That night, thunder struck without rain. Darkness had collected the first life. After Joy's death, Rose and Grace could no longer hide. They changed location often. They avoided people. They stopped trusting anyone. Food lost taste. Sleep disappeared. Grace started talking in her sleep. She begged for forgiveness. Rose saw shadows following her in daylight. I they see something. They decided to destroy the charm. But when they touched it, it burned their hands. The charm fell to the ground and broke by itself. A strange smell filled the room. Grace screamed, "You don't turn against us." It was too late. Once darkness is invited, it does not leave quietly. Grace lost her mind first. She ran into the street one afternoon, shouting names of people who were not there. She tore her clothes and laughed wildly. People watched in fear. Na so it dey take start? Rose tried to help her, but Grace pushed her away. That night, Grace collapsed. Before sunrise, she was dead. Rose screamed until her voice broke. She was alone now. She sat quietly, staring at nothing. 3 days later, she was found lifeless in her room. No sickness, no wound, just silence. Darkness had taken everything. The morning after Rose's death was very quiet. Too quiet. People walked past the house slowly. Some stopped and stared. Some shook their heads in sadness. The once beautiful house now looked cold and empty. The gates were locked. The windows were closed. No laughter, no music, no life. Na money palace turned to grief. Neighbors remembered how the girls once smiled and helped others. They remembered the food they shared, the school fees they paid, the gifts they gave. Now all that was gone. Police came, doctors came, questions were asked, but no clear answers came. 3 young women, 3 sudden deaths. Fear spread through the area. People began to understand something important. Wealth without truth always leaves pain behind. People searched for the herbalist. They went to the forest. The hut was empty. No fire, no smoke, no sign of life. Only ashes on the ground. Devil knew they wait for judgment. Some said he moved on to find new victims. Others said he was never human. No one knew the truth, but one thing was clear. The source of the money had vanished, leaving only death and confusion behind. The forest returned to silence. The secret had no master anymore. Slowly, the full story came out. People talked, people whispered. The charm, the lies, the hidden darkness. People were shocked. So now this kind of money, the respect turned to fear. Parents warned their children, no follow easy road. The girls' names were no longer spoken with praise, but with caution. Their lives became a lesson. The community changed. People became careful with fast wealth stories. Young people were advised, better small money with peace than big money with tears. Churches and monks spoke about patience. Parents spoke about hard work. The story stayed alive not to shame but to warn, because forgetting such lessons brings repetition. If you are watching the story, remember this: life will test you, hunger will speak, pressure will shout, but not every open door leads to safety. Money wey no clean no dey last. 3 friends wanted survival. They choose shortcuts. The shortcut choose their ending. Let this story stay in your heart. Work may be slow, but peace is worth the wait. If you got inspired, kindly share this video so others can learn. Don't forget to subscribe, likes, and comment. See you on the next episode. Bye for now.